Welcome to Alicia Today. So today I want to show you guys a tutorial on how to do sublimation on a dark surface. So I'm going to use like a crossbody canvas little purse. I'm going to make for my daughter for the Little Mermaid. We're going to go see the Little Mermaid movie. So what you'll need is, in this tutorial, it's going to be using rainbow glitter HTV, and then we're going to sublimate onto there. If you guys want to see a way to sublimate onto a non-polyester surface, you could check out my previous video on the DTF sublimation hack. I will be doing one on a dark canvas, or a shirt I should say, or pants or something. But that previous video was just doing it onto a light fabric. Okay, so let's get into this video today. So what you'll need is your surface. So if you guys want to use a shirt or pants, whatever, you can do this onto any surface that you can put your glitter HTV on, but today it's going to be with this bag. Alright, so you need your blank that you're going to put your design on. You need a cutting machine. I'm going to use a Cricut, and so I'll show you that. You'll need a mat to put your HTV on so that it can be cut. You'll need some heat transfer, heat tape, and this is the glitter HTV that I'm going to be using. And then you can either use scissors or you can use a paper cutter to cut it to size. So for me, I'm just going to use my paper cutter just because I have it on hand. So just make sure you cut off a big enough size that your design will fit on, so you don't have to cut it as big as the mat itself. Just make sure that you have enough HTV for your design to be cut out of. So you want to, you can use whatever grip mat you want to, but I like to use a standard grip. It seems like a little better for these types of HTV because they're thicker. Okay, so when you put it on here, you want to make sure that you put the shiny side face down on the mat that is sticking, and then the part that's like, you know, the mat or like the part that needs to be cut out is going to be facing towards you. The other thing you're going to need is so I'm using this type of heat press. You can use whatever heat press that you have. So if you have a handheld one, you can use one of those too. And then I'm going to use the sublimation printer to print out my sublimation design, and then we will go from there. So what you want to do now is, once your sublimation print has printed out, you want to cut it out. So I try to cut it out as close as I can to the design because I'm going to be putting this on top of the heat transfer glitter vinyl, and I want to make sure I'm lining it up as best I can. So I usually try to cut really close, or at least try to cut out a shape that I know I can like match it up very well. So you can do that with the scissors, or you can just use your Cricut to cut it precisely, because it does do that. But I have not calibrated mine yet, and I've tried, and it's so hard for me to calibrate it. It's not doing it, so I was just like, instead of trying to fuss with it, I'll just cut it out myself, because it's not like I'm making like stickers or anything, so it doesn't need to be precise. Okay. Also, another thing that I did was, when I printed it out using the Cricut design space, I let the bleed be there so that I can have extra ink on the outside of the print. So that's why it looks like this. Well, it's kind of thicker like that because I said, yes, you can keep the bleed. And I like to do that just so that I have a little wiggle room, so if I don't place it exactly onto the HTV, that it will still have all the color be onto the heat transfer vinyl. Okay. So you do it as best as you want. If you only want to cut one side out, you can. So I think I'm going to be good with that. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have to get the HTV after it's come off of the Cricut, and we're going to basically be weeding it. Okay, so now I'm done with the Cricut cutting out the design, so I'm going to weed it. Some things you want to keep in mind is you also want to make sure that you put the design that you're cutting out on mirror as well, so that it lines up when you put your sublimation print on there. Because if you don't do that, then it's not going to line up, and then you're going to have to recut it. So keep in mind to add the mirror when you're cutting using Cricut Design Space. Okay. And also make sure when you're weeding that you get all the little small pieces, because sometimes I forget to get some of the small pieces. It still turns out okay, but if you're making it for like a business or something, you want to just make sure that you are being as precise as possible. So I know that there were some little pieces. So there's little pieces there. I think there was some in the hair. So yes, right here. You can always look at your design on the computer just to see, like, okay, were there any parts that look like they didn't have, they needed to be weeded. So like these little tiny parts. If you're doing it real quick, you might actually forget to take those out. Which I said, it won't be bad. It will just be that you just have extra white in your design that you might not want to be there. But it's very minimal, so it'll be okay. Okay, so it looks good. So now we're going to go to press it. Okay, so you're going to get your heat press ready. So this time I put it on 310. So right here you can see 310 for 20 seconds. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bag on here. And I am going to use the lint roller to get off any lint, debris that I don't want. And then the first layer, I'm going to put the glitter vinyl. So find a spot that you like it on the bag. And then I am going to use a little cover just to protect it, because I see that they're... Okay. So then press it. I didn't push auto, so let me push auto and go in. Okay. So I'm just going to let it press for 10 seconds. And like I said before in a previous video, you gotta make sure you take this out, because sometimes it sticks. So let's see. The next layer is going to be your sublimation print. So you're going to put that directly on top. So try to line it up as best as you can. And then you're going to use some sublimation or some heat tape in order to make sure your design doesn't move when you are sublimating it onto your blank canvas. Okay, so I just want to cut out this crown a little bit better so that I'm able to line it up better. Because like I said before, even though I have it on bleed when I print it, you still want to make sure it's lined up as best as possible. Right. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just cutting out a little extra on the crown so that I'm making sure I'm lining it up better. So you do it to your preference, what you think will work best for you. So if you think you're able to like line it up really good without having to cut it out too much, or if you're able to have a calibrated Cricut cutting machine, then you can have that cut it out and then you don't have to worry about this part. Alright, cut this tail out, the bottom. Alright, okay. So, you're going to put that on to your directly on top of your heat transfer vinyl. Line it up as best as you can. Okay. So you can either use the heat resistant tape, or if you still have your sticker from your HTV, then you can just use that. So that's usually what I use. It's easier just to do it that way, just to put it directly on there. I'm going to put this on top again, and then we're going to press it. I'm going to raise the temperature for the sublimation to 380, and we're going to press it for okay. So for the sublimation part, you're going to raise the temperature to 380 and for 50 seconds. You guys can play around with the temperature and the timing just to see what works best for you, but this is what I'm going to try for today, and then we'll see how it turns out. So I'll get back to you guys when the heat press gets to temperature, and then we'll go from there.
Are you done? I guess you're done since you're not.
I said I was making. What was the other video, or did I make them all now? Oh, I have one more. That shirt turned out super cute. So now we're going to press it now that it's at 380 degrees for 50 seconds. And then I'm going to put it on auto. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys was, since I didn't show you how I did the Cricut settings, the settings I put it on was I did mirrored, and I put the cutting setting to iron on. Usually I just do vinyl, but I do iron on for the Glitter HTV because it's thicker. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's the settings I use for my Cricut, and I have a Cricut Air Explorer 2. Alright, so we have 12 seconds left, and we're about to take it out. Make sure you have your heat-resistant gloves. Make sure you grab your protector. Okay. Alright. Make sure you have your window open too, because sometimes there's extra smoke and fumes. So you want this to cool down a little bit. So I'm just going to help it cool down by shaking it. Okay. And then you're going to peel it off. Well, that turned out super cute. Alright, so my daughter is going to be ready for the Little Mermaid. Alright. Let me know what you guys think. So this is Glitter HTV Sublimation onto a dark surface, or I should say a dark blank of your choice. In this case, I used a crossbody canvas little purse. Alright, can you please rate, comment, and subscribe? And I'll get back to you with more videos.